Halloween topic video, and we got Chucky over here talking like crazy. Uh, and we got the rest of the horror action figures up front. Got a Michael Myers mask right over here. So I need to zoom in a little bit on this.
What's wrong with that?
Just a little bit, not too much, because I want everything to be seen. Just, yeah. Alright, there we go. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about Halloween topics. We're going to be talking about horror movie dream matches. We're going to be talking about all kinds of storylines in horror movies that didn't get resolved or I had questions about throughout the years of some of my favorite horror franchises that I've watched over the years. And, you know, a bunch of other things we got on the docket. But first, let me get this mask on. I'm starting to blubber everywhere. Mask I wore last year for Halloween. But here it is. The mask. But anyway, let's talk about horror movie dream matches first. Such as, hold on, let me tilt this a little. We're going to talk about some horror movie dream matches here in a sec. Alright, that's good. The first one I want to talk about is pretty much a new version of Freddy vs. Jason, because we've had Freddy vs. Jason already happen. But I'm going to talk about that. Then I'm going to talk about Michael Myers versus Pinhead. Then I'm going to talk about Chucky taking on the Leprechaun. Going to talk about, also going to talk about Leatherface taking on the Tall Man, the Poltergeist Demon. Bloody Mary. I have to shut him up because he won't stop. I'm going to talk about Bloody Mary versus the Candyman, and I'll tell you why I'm going to do Bloody Mary versus the Candyman here in a sec. And then I'll have a couple other ones that I'll talk about throughout. Ghostface, any version of Ghostface against, you know, Jigsaw's posse in the Saw movies. So we're going to get into it. You know, first off, let's start off with Freddy vs. Jason. And look, I like the original Freddy vs. Jason, and I think it was a really good movie. Problem is, one thing I didn't like about it was we didn't get Kane Hodder as Jason in that movie. We got a different guy, but you know what? I'm going to do Kane Hodder versus Freddy right here. I'm going to talk about it, because that's why I got Freddy and them two together. Pinhead and Michael Myers are together. They don't have no Leprechaun figures, so I can't talk about Leprechaun versus Chucky. But we're going to go with part 2, Freddy Krueger possessing Jesse, taking on, I don't know, I guess we'll go with the first appearance of Jason and Kane Hodder going up against each other. Now, Freddy taking over Jesse's body made him be able to go into the real world, and he was able to freaking kill kids and use his powers and all that stuff. So, we're going to break down this match. And honestly, my opinion, you know, I think Freddy would win this time because Freddy has all of his powers. And Jason, you know, eventually gets wore out. So, I think Freddy going longer, using all of his powers, is going to wear Jason down. He's going to be able to beat Jason. And he's going to be able to play the mind games on Jason that, you know, we never got to see fully in the Freddy vs. Jason movie that came out in 2003. So, yeah, I think Freddy would win this time. I think pretty much the Jason won in the original movie. But he also had help from humans in that. We're not going to have no interference from any human characters or anything. It's just going to be Freddy versus Jason. They're going to go at it. And I say Freddy comes out at the end. He barely etches it out. But Freddy will beat Jason this time. And you know what? First victory goes to Freddy. Alright. Michael Myers versus Pinhead. Now, I'm going to go with Hellraiser 3 Pinhead. I know a lot of people don't like Hellraiser 3. I like Hellraiser 3. I think it's good. But I'm going to go with Hellraiser 3 Pinhead against Halloween 6 Michael Myers. Because Halloween 6 Michael Myers was just so terrifying. He was freaking crazy, killed people. Didn't matter who it was. He was just no chance in hell anybody had against Michael Myers in Halloween 6. I don't even think Loomis would have been able to handle Michael Myers if he had an encounter with Michael Myers in part 6. I mean, it's even insinuated at the end of the theatrical cut that Michael Myers might have killed him. I can't see the comments, but thank you all for joining the live chat. Hello. I don't know what the other one says. I'm like, look, I'm nearsighted, so, you know, the camera's not that close to me. But what's that going to say? Ha, 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 ha. I don't know. But, you know, between Pinhead from Hellraiser 3, because he has no chains on him in Hellraiser 3. Pinhead is unleashed fully in Hellraiser 3. He don't have no human counterpart to him to stop him from doing the evil stuff. So, the battle between Michael Myers and Pinhead, honestly, Pinhead got beat by the Doctor in part 2, so I'm going to go with Michael Myers winning this one. Pinhead's going to make it close. He's going to use his powers in that, but Michael Myers is going to overpower him because, like I said, he's an unstoppable force. And this is part 6 Michael Myers, so he was pretty much impossible to stop, period. So, yeah, I'm going to go with, you know, Pinhead can make all the freaking one-liners he wants, especially the one-liners he made in part 3. But Michael Myers, in the end, is going to take down Pinhead. So I'm going with Michael Myers to win that battle. Alright, next up, Leatherface against the Tall Man. You know what? I like the Texas Chainsaw movies. I like the Phantasm movies. If you don't know who Tall Man is, he's from the Phantasm movies. I'm pretty sure people who watch horror know who Tall Man is, so I don't have to explain it too much. But I think Tall Man, he's an unstoppable force. He's so powerful. Leatherface did get killed by a small town freaking private eye investigator, so, or Bubba, whatever you want to call him. But you know what? I'm going to go with the win going to the Tall Man. Because not only does he freaking have all these powers now, he's got those orbs that could take down. And he don't even need an army like freaking Leatherface don't need his whole family to... I mean, Tall Man don't need a whole family to beat people the way Leatherface needed in the Texas Chainsaw movies. Because Tall Man's got those orbs, he's got all these other demons, and he has endless demons, endless lives, and all that, so I'm going to say Tall Man. And, you know, maybe some of this is favoritism for freaking some of my favorite horror franchises. Because I do like Nightmare on Elm Street a little bit more than I do Friday the 13th, but I love the Friday the 13th movies as well. Can't see that. Sean, can you bring this camera a little closer? But, yeah, Tall Man beats Leatherface. Alright, next up. Hello. The Poltergeist Demon against Pumpkinhead. I don't know, this one's tough to pick. I mean, I guess the Poltergeist Demon would win because of the fact that he don't seem like he's got any weaknesses. If someone shows him the other side, then he'll be fine. But Pumpkinhead, if you kill the person that called for Pumpkinhead, that's the easy way to beat Pumpkinhead. So, you know what? I guess I'll go with the Poltergeist Demon because he's like kind of unstoppable. And, you know, so I'll go with the Poltergeist Demon beating Pumpkinhead. As much as I love the Pumpkinhead movies, well, 1 and 2, I don't really care for the rest after that. But yeah, I'll go with frickin' Poltergeist getting the win, because all he's got to do is find the frickin' human that summoned Pumpkinhead, and that's how he can kill Pumpkinhead. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. Next up, let's talk about Chucky versus Leprechaun. Now, this might be a battle of one-liners, because the Leprechaun's got a lot of one-liners, and Chucky's got a lot of one-liners, and Honestly, I think Chucky would probably out one-liner the Leprechaun, but Leprechaun is more powerful. But Chucky can't be killed unless he gets shot in the heart. But if you get the Leprechaun's gold and you destroy his gold, then you can win that way. And Chucky, he's pretty smart. So, hello. So I think that Chucky would beat the Leprechaun because he's smart. He would go after the Leprechaun's gold, and he would kill the Leprechaun. And he would keep his heart from getting attacked by the Leprechaun. So I think Chucky would beat the Leprechaun. And like I said, I like both franchises. I know a lot of people like Leprechaun. I know a lot of people hate Leprechaun in the Hood, and they hate the Leprechaun franchise in general. But I like the Leprechaun franchise, and Leprechaun in the Hood is one of my favorite Leprechaun movies. I know it's bad. I'm not saying it's a great movie, but I like the movie. But, you know, I still like it. It's good to me. Entertains me. And Ice-T. Seeing him run from the Leprechaun half the movie is kind of funny. Postmaster P is like the weakest rapper I've ever seen ever. I mean, seriously. At the time that movie came out, and that gangster rap was hot, and Postmaster P is trying to be this positive rapper, that wouldn't have worked. Ice-T even told him earlier in the movie, his character said, you know, you gotta slap the bitch up. You gotta, you know, talk about gang banging and all that stuff, because that's what was hot at the time. So, yeah. But I think Chucky would beat the Leprechaun because he would freaking go for the Leprechaun's gold and destroy the Leprechaun's gold, because that is the Leprechaun's weakness. Or he could get a 4-leaf clover, if we remember the origin from the first movie where you could kill him with the 4-leaf clover. So either way, my boy Chucky here would win. Next up, let's go with Art the Clown against Pennywise. I don't care which version it is, bro. It's Bill Skarsgård's version of frickin' Pennywise or Tim Curry's version of Pennywise. Anyway, it goes. I started watching, I think it was a couple years ago, I watched Terrifier movies for the first time. I'd heard some stuff about them, and I heard they were good and gory and that. But I'd never seen them until a couple years ago. And I like the franchise. It's a pretty good franchise. But you know what? It is still my favorite clown movie ever. I don't care what comes before it, what comes after it. So, you know, I might be a little biased here, but I am picking Pennywise. I don't know, because Art, he's also, I think he's an alien too, or a supernatural being or something. I don't know, maybe Art would, I mean, if Art, you know, bullied the Pennywise to death, if it's Bill Skarsgård's version, then maybe he would be able to kill Pennywise. You know, Art is a bully. If you've seen the Terrifier movies, you know how much of a freaking bully he is. You've seen him bully people in the movies. So, I don't know, maybe Art would beat Pennywise, but I think Pennywise would find a way to win. We just have to wait and see. But, you know what? I wish somebody, like, legit would actually do these again, or we get more movies like this, like Freddy vs. Jason. Alright, I'll do a couple more horror movie dream matches, and I'll talk about some storylines of some of my favorite horror franchises that kind of left a lot of questions for me. I'll talk about those in a minute. Alright, now let's get into the Ghostface Killers against Jigsaw's Posse. The reason why I call them Jigsaw's Posse because, you know, at first it started out with Saw. It was just Jigsaw. They had assumed someone else was working with him, and it was kind of hinted at the beginning of the movie that it was Amanda, or in the middle of the movie that it was Amanda, but they never really revealed it until the second Saw movie, which had Donnie Wahlberg, former Backstreet Boy. Or, yeah, Backstreet Boy. New Kid on the Block, no. Yeah, former New Kid on the Block. Oh my God. You know, but I don't know, you know, Jigsaw, he's got them health issues and that, and none of the, any of the freaking people that wore the Ghostface costume really didn't have any health issues. Stu's super clumsy, Billy was psychotic, Billy's mother just wanted revenge, Mickey with Billy's mother. Yeah, that's like one of the reasons why I like Scream 2 more than I do the first one. Mainly because of Timothy Olyphant. But, So this is kind of a tough one, but you know what? The rest of freaking Jigsaw's crew was healthy and they were good. Amanda has some mental issues, and you know she was cutting herself in that. But I think Jigsaw's posse would take out the freaking Ghostface killer, because Ghostface killers, no matter how good they got in the numbers, they still end up getting beat at the end. Jigsaw and his crew never really got caught. And when they were on the verge of getting caught, they found a way to get out of getting caught. I mean, look at freaking Jigsaw and Amanda got killed because Jigsaw was real sick and he was about to die in Saw 3. Amanda was letting her emotions get the best of her, and she killed that lady who was the wife of the guy they had in the game for that one. And, yeah. You know, if it hadn't been for that, and then the guy killed Jigsaw, or John Kramer, pretty much afterward, after he killed Amanda. But then he caused his wife to die because John, she still had the collar on because Amanda wouldn't take it off. And John said, you know what? If I die, you die. And that's what happened. You know, the guy couldn't learn to forgive. He couldn't learn to forget things. And he just couldn't let go of stuff. And that's why he failed. I think he's probably like, outside of the guy, which one was it? 5 or 6? Outside of the guy that failed in 5 or 6. You know, I think Jeff's the only guy that really failed in his game against when Jigsaw played him in it. And then he ended up getting killed in 4 anyway. So, yeah. Pretty much a useless character. A character we built up in the last movie, and he's done after 1 movie. So, yeah. It's crazy. But I think Jigsaw's posse would still beat any of the Ghostface. Because, I mean, come on. And most of the time, it was mainly Sidney Prescott, pretty much by herself, beating the Ghostface killers. Yeah, she had a little bit of help from Gale Weathers. She had a little bit of help from Dewey a couple times. But most of the time, she's the one that pretty much beat them. And she had help from Cotton Weary one time. But, yeah. But, still, I like the Scream movie. I like the Saw movies, and I like the Scream movies. Probably like the Saw movies a little better because I enjoy those over like newer horror movies that I like, so I like those pretty much. Let's see. You know what? How about Angela against the Nun? Angela from Night of the Demons. What if we put Angela from Night of the Demons up against the Nun? Honestly, I think Angela would win flat out. The Nun movies are good, but you know what? I like the Night of the Demon movie. Well, I like 1 and 2. I didn't watch 3 and 4 and all that stuff. We'll also put the Return of the Living Dead zombies against the Night of the Living Dead zombies, even though originally Return of the Living Dead was supposed to be a sequel to Night of the Living Dead. And you know what? I'd probably go with Return of the Living Dead zombies because they are better. They're smarter. They're faster. They freaking can lure people into ambushes and everything, so yeah. Night of the Living Dead, or Return of the Living Dead zombies would beat Night of the Living Dead zombies. Alright, here's one that might be interesting. These are supposed to be the same character too. I'll put the mask on for this too. For a few minutes. Took it off for a few. But, let's talk about Dracula against Count Olaf, or Olaf, or whatever his frickin' name is, from Nosferatu. And you know what? I like the newer one that they just came out with for Nosferatu. You know what? I've always been a big Dracula fan, and to me, Dracula is the most powerful vampire out there. So I would go with Dracula beating Count Olaf, or whatever his name is. I think Dracula would beat him. And I would put Bram Stoker's Dracula against Count Olaf from the Bram Stoker Dracula movie. That's my Dracula. That's my Dracula. I don't care about Gerard Butler. I like Christopher Lee. I like Bela Lugosi. But I think Gary Oldman played the best Dracula out there. So yeah, I'm going with yeah. I'm going with Count Dracula beating Count Olaf or Olaf or whatever his name is. But I'm going with Dracula beating. Oh, I'm gonna stick with vampires. Let me get the mask off. And move this camera a little bit closer so I can see the comments. Hopefully I see how much time I've done with this. Alright, 20 minutes. Usually, I guess I'm going to have to keep it here. Alright, well. I'm going to have to keep it here. I can't see the comments. I apologize. I like reacting to the comments on here, but yeah, it's tough with my vision. Anyway, so we're going to get to two other vampires from horror. One from a horror anime and one from a comic book. And the two vampires we'll talk about is D from Vampire Hunter D and the man Blade. And this one's really tough for me because I love D. I also love Blade. So if I had to go down, I would go with the tie, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say if D did struggle in the first Vampire Hunter D movie against Count Magnus, and Blade just blast through every vampire he's went through, so I guess I'll give the slight edge to my boy Blade. Sorry, D, but Vampire Hunter D is still one of my favorite anime movies ever. I do not care for Bloodlust. I know a lot of people say, oh, Bloodlust is better, blah, 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 blah. Honestly, I think Vampire Hunter D, the original one, is the best. Anything else after that is not that good. So, yeah. I also forgot to say Happy Halloween to everybody out there. Halloween! But, yeah. Yeah. I don't think people can hear me talking with this freaking mask on. So I'll get my glasses back on and talk some more. Alright, let's see. Is there any other ones? Yeah, Bloody Mary against Candyman. This will be the last one I do. The reason why I'm putting Bloody Mary against Candyman is because, you know, the Candyman movie kind of stole the Bloody Mary mythos. So, and you know what? Not American Horror Story, but American Horror Stories on Hulu had an episode about Bloody Mary, so we're going to go with that Bloody Mary against Candyman. Honestly, hands down, Candyman wins. It doesn't matter. Candyman wins. It doesn't matter. Candyman's the winner. I would do Megan, but I don't know who she would go up against. You know what? No, I will do the Meg against Jaws. You know, because we had two Megalodon movies come out in the past 10 years. We've had the Jaws movies, which are celebrating, what, its 50th anniversary this year? So, yeah. Meg against Jaws. Now look. Both these sharks are gigantic. The Megalodon's really gigantic. The Jaws is really gigantic. Well, Bruce the Shark. We'll say Bruce the Shark. You know what, though? I would say Bruce the Shark would win. He is ruthless. The Meg wastes too much time. It's too big. It's too slow. The frickin' Bruce the Shark would run circles around, no matter how big Bruce the Shark is. He'd run circles around the Megalodon, and he would beat the Meg from the Meg movies. So, I go with Jaws first. I go with Jaws beating the Meg, or Bruce the Shark. Whichever you want to call it. Bruce the Shark, Jaws, whatever. Yeah, he'll beat the Megalodon. Plus, the Jaws movies are very iconic. Even the crappy ones have something to enjoy. But, anyway. Alright. Let's get to some storylines that don't make no sense to me in some of these horror movies. And we're going to start with Scream. Because we just got the trailer for Scream 7. Scream's fresh in my mind. So I got a question. In the first Scream, Randy's this horror movie expert, right? He knows the rules. He knows everything about horror movies. He knows what the red herring is and all that stuff. But something that always kind of threw me off, because, you know, he pretty much spelled it out quite a few times at the opening sequence. Why did Randy never suspect Stu as the killer? He suspected Billy, but most of that probably had to do with him having the hots for Sidney. But why did Randy never suspect Stu? Stu was buddies with frickin' Billy. Stu always helped frickin' Billy gang up on Randy. Stu pointed the finger at Sidney's dad. It just always kind of got me because, like, Randy's the character that's supposed to know the horror movie rules and know all the stuff about horror movies, right? Why did he never suspect that Randy was the frickin'... Why did he never suspect that Stu was also the killer? I mean, he kind of suspected it at the beginning because Stu was pretty much spelling it out. But, you know, Randy never pushed it any further. But he was really hard on saying Billy was the killer. But he didn't go too hard with Stu being the killer. And if what's true, what's been said on the internet and all that, and the trailer kind of hints that it's probably going to be Stu in Scream 7 as the killer. Again, now supposedly he was supposed to be back in Scream 3 as well, but they never brought him back. And he probably would have been the second killer with Roman if he did get brought back in Scream 3. But, you know, the girl that played Sidney was the second killer. Despite the fact that Roman killed her, the reason why Roman killed her is because he was planning on killing her anyway. So he decided to freaking kill her because he wanted to take all the credit because he's a producer. And he wanted to be the star of the movie and all that stuff. Plus, you know, freaking Roman was kind of narcissistic. So, of course, Roman killed his partner in crime because he wanted to take all the credit for everything. Unlike Mickey and Billy's mother. Let me rephrase that. Unlike Mickey and Billy's mother. And unlike Billy and Stu, which Billy probably would have turned on Stu anyway and killed him too. But... you know, I just think it would have made more sense if, you know, would have made more sense in the movie if, you know, Randy realized Stu was also the killer, but never really freaking mentioned it too much, never pushed it as hard as he did with Billy in the first movie, and it just always made no sense to me. Like, come on now. Stu pretty much spelled it out in the first act that he was one of the killers. And Randy teased him about it at the beginning, but didn't say nothing else about him being the killer throughout the rest of the movie. So, I don't know. That's a crazy. You're supposed to know all the rules to the horror movies, but yet, you don't get that there might have been a second killer? Come on now. Come on, Randy. If you're going to be the horror expert, you got to know everything. When somebody's pointing a finger at someone else as a killer, that means they're a killer too. I mean, heck. Seriously. This is crazy. Alright. Let's talk about Halloween. A storyline that never really I got. What was the purpose? And look, I like the producer's cut. It's my favorite cut of Halloween 6. I also like the original theatrical cut as well, but why did Michael Myers have to get Jamie pregnant? I mean, seriously. All he had to do was kill Jamie. That would have ended the bloodline, and he would have been free of the Curse of Thorn. I don't get why, then, that he had to get her pregnant in the producer's cut. It made no sense to me. And if Danny was supposed to take over the killing after Michael, why did Michael wipe out all of Danny's family? Almost wiped out his mom, too. So, almost wiped out Kira, too. So why, if Danny's supposed to be killer, he had to kill his family. Why did they have Michael kill the rest of the family? Wouldn't they have gave that task to Danny? That would have made more sense. Yeah, there's a lot of things they could have switched with a lot of these different Halloween movies. That could have made them better. Certain things like, I don't know, get rid of Buster Rhymes and freaking in freaking Halloween Resurrection with his freaking kung fu, and have it be another Laurie Strode battle. This time it's final, but they didn't do that. They totally screwed it up. And I got a question about Friday 13th, because you know what? Everybody says, well, Jason didn't show up till the sequel of Friday 13th. But he was at the end of the first movie. He pulled freaking Chris under. Or, not Chris, Alice under. And, yeah, he pulled Alice under. It's supposed to be a dream sequence. But then when they pan back to the water, you see all these bubbles coming up, and Jason looks like he's getting ready to come out of the water and all that stuff. So, was it really a dream sequence? Or was the cop, they just didn't find Jason? Because he hit himself somehow. I don't know. But did Jason also secretly help his mom at certain points in the freaking movie? Because when Mrs. Voorhees went off to kill Christy, the head counselor, there was no way she could have, threw somebody through the window, ran back up, got her Jeep, and rolled back around in time to sucker Alice in the thicket. She was going to help her. I don't know. It's just something that didn't make no sense to me. Let's see what else. I don't know. I think there's so much else. Yeah. Like, in Nightmare on Elm Street 6, I think if they would have focused that on Jacob continuing the Alice story, since, she was a big part of the last two movies, I wonder how they would have utilized Alice in that one, because Alice barely survived Freddy in Part 5, but maybe Alice moved out of Springwood and Jacob was still in it. I never get why they scrapped that, And yeah, Freddy Krueger, he also did the killing thing and all that, He had a daughter and all that stuff, and, it's what it is. But, yeah. I don't know. So many things in certain movies that just don't make no sense to me. Like, I know why Stu killed Tatum, because he knew that Tatum would be against, Billy getting to make up with frickin' Sydney in frickin' Scream. So I know why Stu killed her, because he knew she'd have a problem with Billy, trying to make up with Sid, because she felt Sid, he tried to kill Sid. Also, why was Dewey limping in Scream 2? I mean, come on now. Yeah, I know he got stabbed in the back, and he said it was some nerve damage or something, but really? I don't know about that. Maybe, it could be. I don't know. Because he got stabbed, I think it was the upper part of his back. So how's he freaking limping around? I don't know. Running like... Let's see. I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. I got too much else. I had other things planned, but it's been such a long day, and my brain's kind of fried, and it's been... long year. So I'm on the video with thanking everybody for joining the live stream, thanking everybody that's watched all my videos this year. 2025 has been a pretty good year in videos for me on YouTube. So I've had a pretty good year this year. And I want to thank everybody who's tuned in to the live streams, everybody who's, checked out all my other videos, a wrestling video, a toy video, a cartoon video, movie video, whatever. But you know what? I really appreciate all my fans that watch my channel and all that stuff. And I really appreciate the opportunity to get back on YouTube and do what I was doing before then. But like I said, had I not got on Facebook, because when I first started YouTube years ago, like over 10 years ago, I was not as good, I was not as, wasn't, as, I don't know, productive on that. But in my first run, and I was this run. So yeah, sometimes I, just came off. I don't know, but yeah. Thank all my subscribers, And you know what? I hope next year's a pretty good year too. But anyway, that's gonna do it. This will be my last video for the year, but I will be back in January next year, early January, and I'll have like all kinds of freaking new topics. I already know what the first freaking playthrough I'm gonna do is, because yesterday a big game came out. Well, actually, it's a big collection came out. So my first playthrough after my first live stream of the year will be the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. I'll talk about it, I'll give my thoughts on it, and you know, all that stuff. We're going to crown a king of rap for my first live stream of the next year. I was going to do a topic video talking about all the action heroes and all their movies that I thought were the best. Like, which movie I thought was best, that was their absolute best movie ever. And it's always a movie I always go back to watch all the freaking time. So I have an action hero video early next year as well. And a couple other things, 2026 predictions and all that. But anyway, let me put the mask back on before I end this. And I'm going to say, Happy Halloween, Happy Thanksgiving, and Happy and Merry Christmas, and have a Happy New Year. And I will see you guys in early 26. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank everybody who joined the stream tonight. Thank everybody who joined my stream when I talked about the No Limit Cash Money Battle on the Versus show. And I want to thank everybody who watched my AEW video I did Wednesday. And look, the Cash Money and No Limit video, that was not planned. And neither was the frickin' AEW video, but I wanted to get the prediction out that I had. Because probably by the time I would have did that prediction, the prediction would have already happened. So that's why I had to frickin' do it Wednesday. But anyway, I'll catch you guys later. If you like this video, subscribe for more. Follow my Facebook fan page, Mr. 183 Show. Follow my Facebook business page, Trades and Toys. And again, I'll see you guys early 2026. Catch you guys later and peace out.